Hi, this is Chris from Chris Loves Crochet and Crochet Recreations, and this is my tutorial on the Divine Hat. If you want to join our little community, please hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified of the tutorials coming out, click on the bell and click always or all or something like that. And that way you can get notified when I put out a new tutorial. And welcome. Stand by. So, the Divine Hat. Divine. It is divine. It's funny, I had somebody who posted on one of my giveaways. I asked them to post what their most recent search was, and they put on there that their recent search was for the Divine Hat. And I actually thought that they were talking about just the best hat that they could find. Not that there's an actual divine hat out there. So I did a little searching, and there are divine hats out there. So here is a divine hat. And we need for this project yarn, a 4 worsted weight yarn, and some scissors, and a stitch marker to stop your work if you need to go answer the door or whatever, and 2 different size crochet hooks, a 6mm for the bulk of the hat, for most of the hat, and then a 5mm for the brim of the hat to pull it in a little bit tighter. So we're going to be working mostly with the 6mm. Well, we also need a embroidery needle. I didn't take that out yet. That to sew in the ends. Duh. Okay, so we're going to start with a magic circle. And to do the magic circle, you take your yarn, fold it over your hand, put your thumb there on where it crosses the tail, and then leave your loop, put your hook under the loop, and then grab your working yarn, pull it up, grab that with your forefinger and your thumb so that you can drop over here and pick up your yarn and pull that tight and pull 1 chain. I'm going to put in another chain, give it a little bit more height because I'm going to do 15, yes 15, not 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm going to do 15 double crochets into, so it's 1, 2, into the magic circle or adjustable ring or whatever. What did I say that was? I can never tell what that is right there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. While I'm crocheting into circles, I have a habit of kind of pulling the circle a little bit with my pinky, and so I usually stop to make sure that I have enough tail to continue to crochet over, because you need the tail still free at the end in order to pull it tight to adjust that ring. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now I'm going to pull the tail a little bit, get us a little bit closer. And now we can see that the hole, I closed the hole a little bit, but I still leave it a little bit loose to do the first round so that I have a little bit more space in there. And then after I do the second round, then I pull it nice and tight. So I'm going to slip stitch into that first double crochet that I did. Tighten that down. And now I've got my first round of 15 double crochets. Now the second round is not an increase round. We're just going to do 15 front post double crochets. So I'm going to chain up 1, yarn over, go down, go under my I usually leave that. I wonder if we need it. Go under, sorry, go under my double crochet, pull the yarn forward, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. So we yarn over, it's a front post double crochet, so you go in from the front and then come back up and then grab your yarn from the front, pull it through, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. So all of these 15 get a front post double crochet crocheted on top of them. And like I said, there's no increase on here. There'll be an increase in the next round. So here's the last double crochet to do a front post on. Front post double crochet. I'm going to pull my circle in a little bit now that I've finished the second round. So now it's nice and closed. And now I'm going to slip stitch, not on the chain, but on the top of the first double crochet. Slip stitch, pull it tight. So there we have 2 rounds. We have one of just regular double crochet and then one of front post double crochets on top of each one. So we're still at 15 a round. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're still at 15. And now we have an increase. So I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to do a front post. We always start with our front post. Double crochet, and then I'm going to add a double crochet, not in this spot of the stitch for the next double crochet. We're going to go in between them into that larger hole in between the posts and do, well, that's silly, and do a double crochet. And now we do a front post double crochet. So we are increasing in between each of our front post double crochets with a double crochet that's just in the space right after the front post. So I'm going to continue do that all the way around and I'll be back. All right, so here I am at the end and almost to the end. I just did my last front post double crochet and here's my first front post double crochet. So what are we missing? We're missing one regular double crochet that goes into that space. Don't forget to do that at the end. Then we slip stitch here on our first front post double crochet. And that is our third round that we have an increase in. Now the next round, the fourth round, we're going to do the same thing, but it's going to feel a little bit different. So we do one front post and then we do one regular, but we don't do it in the stitch. We're doing it before that stitch right there. So we go just after the front post, do a double crochet, skip that stitch from last round, go to the front post and do a front post on it. Do a double crochet in between the front post and the regular, and then skip that regular from last round and do a double crochet. All right, so I'm going to do that all the way around and then I'll show you the increase for the next round. Okay, so I finished that round. I did a slip stitch in the first double crochet. I'm going to chain up 1 and I'm going to start, as always, with a front post double crochet. Now, we're still going to go into this same space that's just next to your front post double crochet and that regular double crochet. But now for this round, we're going to put in 2 double crochets. 1, 2, both in that space. And then skip that one and go to the front post. Now we do 2 more in that space right after the, and then skip whatever is there to get to the front post. And then right after that front post in the space, we put in 2. And then do a front post. Skip whatever's there. Do 2 right after that front post. Not into any stitch. Skip whatever is there and go to the next front post. 2. So the next time that you do this round, you're going to skip over 2. You skip over, that's what why I keep saying whatever's there, you're going to skip. So we've got our front post, and then we have our 2 double crochet in that space. Skip whatever is there, jump right over to the next front post. So I finished the 2 rounds of the front post double crochet, and then the 2 regular double crochet, and then the front post. So now we're going to do 3 rounds of 3 double crochet in between the front post. So I chained up 1 already. I'm going to start off with my front post double crochet, which I always do. And now right next to that front post, ignoring these 2 that are already in there, these 2 double crochet, in between the front post and the first of those regular double crochet, I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to jump everything that's there and just go right to the next front post. And I'm going to do 3 double crochet right next to the front post in the space, not in the stitch. And then jumping over to the front post to do that. Now, we're starting to see what looks like shells coming up in here. And as we jump over and do a front post, we're pulling this front post line a little bit to the right. So we're going to end up with some swirl looking things. So let's do a couple more and see if we can see that coming up. 1, 2, 3. Now I jump over to the front post and I pull it off to the side a little bit, and I do a nice tight front post double crochet, and they're starting to turn. So we're going to do 3 rounds of these 3 double crochet in between, and then 1 front post. Make sure those front posts are nice and tight, and then do 3 more. I'm going to do 3 of those rounds, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have finished the 3 rounds with the 3 double crochet in between the front post. And now we're going to increase 1 more time and then just keep going. So we're going to do 1 front post double crochet, and then we're going to do 4. Dog's getting into something. And we're going to do 4 in this space just past that front post. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we reach over, we jump over all those 3, we reach over to that front post and do a nice tight front post crochet, double crochet. So we can see how these front post double crochets are giving us a little bit of a spiral look. So that's pretty cool. And these are nice shells now that we've got, and now we've got a 4 stitch shell right there, and that's as far as we're going to go. So I'm going to do 7 more rows. 2, 3, 4, and then reach over to that front post, do a nice tight double crochet, and I'm going to do 7 more rows of that. 7 rows. So I just started the 7th row, and or not the 7th row, I've just started the first of the 7 rows. So I'm going to continue that down, and I will meet you back to do the brim. I just finished the 7 rows of the 4 double crochet shells, and I went ahead and put the stitch marker in here to show where I began the 7 rows, so that I could just keep going and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. I'm going to take that out now, and I'm going to change from my 6mm to my 5mm, and I'm going to go, I chained 1, I'm going to go around and do a single crochet round and then a double crochet round, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to do the brim. So I finished the single crochet and the double crochet round, and now we're going to start, I'm going to finish this round off with a slip stitch to the first double crochet. And now we're going to start our front post, back post, 3 rows of front post, back post for our brim, for our brim. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go around the chain and the first double crochet for a front post. Now for a back post, it's just backwards. So back post, you go in from the back, and you come up, and you push your hook back to the back, because it's back post. You grab your yarn, pull it through, and then you just do a double crochet. So we have a front post, and then a back post. Front post, you go in from the front. We've been doing that all along. Back post, you yarn over, you go in from the back, go across the front, across the top, go into the back, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we have a front post. We have a back post, yarn over, come in from the back, go across the front, push your hook to the back, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is what we're going to do for 3 rounds. So when you come back around, you're going to be putting your front post on your front post and your back post on your back post, so that they continue with the same rib. If you switch it around, then it's just going to look like a mess. So we're going to do 3 rounds of front post, back post, front post, back post, come back, slip stitch at the beginning, and then do front post on the first one and back post on the second one. And we're going to do that for 3 rounds. Now I'll be back to show you the end. Alright, so I made it around for my 3 rows of front and back post. So we have this nice brim here, and I slip stitched into my first stitch, and now I'm going to chain 1 and pull it tight. Now I'm going to give myself a little tail so that I can sew this in. Pull that out. First I'm going to go on the inside of the hat. So I want to make sure that this is still pulled tight. There was a little bit of give in there, so I want it to be as closed as I can get it. Going to thread or yarn my embroidery needle. I have a bent tip. Really helps with these magic circles to get around the corner. So I'm going to skip over the first strand of yarn and go in after that. Otherwise, if I go in right where it came out, I'm just going to pull it right back out. So I'm going to go around the corner, come back out, pull that through. And now to go back the other way, because it was already in there one way, So I'd put it back a second way, and now I'm going back a third way. So I'm going to skip this first strand of yarn, and go in. So it's gone back and forth 3 times, and that will hold it. Cut that. Now for the end of it, I'm going to thread that yarn. And I like to, the way that the knot is going, that's the stitch that I go into, this next V, because it's laying that way anyway. So I go into this next V to just pull it straight into the hat, and then pull it down so you don't see it. Right, there's the knot, and it's very difficult to see. You have to be looking for it. So I've pulled it in, but now I want to go, how do I want to go? Oh, this is a nice back post. I can really sew it in there. So I go down once, come back up. I'm going to grab an extra strand of yarn, come back up, and that's 2. Making sure to stay inside the yarn, don't go out in the front. And then I'm going to skip this yarn and go back in to make 3. So 1, 2, 3. Back, forth, back. Forth, back, forth. Back and forth. Cut that off. And we have our hat. Isn't that pretty? So we have the spirals here on top, and they turn really nicely down to the bottom. And then we have this really nice stretchy brim that'll keep it on your head. Isn't that pretty? What a pretty lilac color. This was just a Red Heart Super Saver, not Super Saver, Red Heart with Love, called Lilac. So I like the with Love because it's much more soft than the Super Saver. I also wanted to take this opportunity to show you another one that I found. This is off of Yarnspirations. Let me take it off of her head. This is off of Yarnspirations. And what's different about this one, it's inside out. It's inside out. What's different about this one is that it still has the spiral. The spiral goes a little bit more off to the side, gives it a little bit deeper of a spiral. And you can see that the shells puff out a little bit more because it uses some trebles. Once it gets past about the 4th row, it goes into trebles and doubles. And so that one I did using the Yarnspiration. This is free. Just look up, what did he call it? The swirl hat crochet. So this is the Yarnspiration swirl hat, and it's pretty much a divine hat, but it uses some trebles. So if you want to do, if you've done a bunch of divines and you want to do something a little bit different, and this one comes with a chart, which I really enjoy following a chart. And this one, you use one size all the way through, a 5mm, and you use DK yarn. So if you have a DK yarn that you would like to use, a Bernat Softy Baby is a good one, or what I used was a mandala yarn, and did it like that. And I like how it ended up right at the bottom with the yellow. Isn't that nice? So we have 2. This one was the tutorial, and this one I told you where you could find the pattern. So we've got 2 hats getting along for Christmas. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something new, and thank you for your time. And we always have a choice, so please choose happy. Thanks. Bye.